Namaste. Welcome to Drinking Bliss, Divine Satsang. Tonight is probably my most favorite subject, if I may say, when we talk about spirituality, because even though we talk so much about the heart, but so many people, there's many aspects of the Anahata, the Heart Chakra, that most people don't know. And we're going to unlock your heart tonight, and we're going to explore the Anahata and the beyond, what is so mystical about the Heart Chakra. And there's a lot of mysticism with it that most people are not aware of. So, but before we start that, and we will explore the beyond and the how can I say that, the challenges when the energy peers through the Heart Chakra, and so many aspects that people don't even know what they're experiencing, and they don't know what's happening in their life unless you have a lot of insight about it and you have gone through it. So we welcome everyone on Sri Devi Mayi Ma YouTube channels, and just be here with us. Make yourself comfortable, and as you sit, make sure you sit with your spine straight, nice, comfortably, and your hands turned upward if you can. And the spine is called the Meudanda in the yogic tradition, and it's the axis between earth and heaven. So there's a lot of energy travel through the spine. And when you sit, Namaste, Miriam, when you sit with your hands turned upward, it's the mudra of receiving as well. So we'll start with a breath, a few conscious breaths together. We're going to share our soul and spirit and heart as one, and our energy through our breath, and to be here in this moment and just let go of everything. It's just we will breathe together for a few deep breaths, and then I'll do an invocation, and then we'll officially start. So just close your eyes, and as you breathe, just put your awareness at the very bottom, what we call the Muladhara, and put your consciousness and allow your breath to go up and down your spine, caressing your spine. And we all breathe together as one, consciously, and let go of everything. Just the light and breathing. As we breathe in the divine, the life force energy. See your breath where it is now. Is it stuck, shallow? Does it go through your heart? Most people their energy gets stuck in the Heart Chakra. The Heart Chakra, well, actually, no, before I start, because when I start, I won't stop. So let's do the invocation first. Keep your eyes closed, and it's going to be one verse from the Guru Puja to do an invocation. the Anahata, the heart chakra, what is known as the heart chakra, is the bridge between earth and infinity. It is the fourth chakra, right around the solar plexus. Let me go and just talk a little bit about the anatomy of the subtle body, because some of you might not know, and I won't go into it long, because there's a whole lesson on that on my program, Becoming the Light Inner Journey Mastery. But just so you have an idea, some of you might not know, because there's this misconception about, let's demystify that, the subtle body has 114 chakra. Many people think it's only 7, but we have 114, 2 of them above our head. And the whole spiritual journey is from untruth to truth, darkness to light, ignorance to enlightenment. And it's literally, to sum up, is from the Muladhara through the Sahasrara. When the energy pierces through what we call the Kundalini ascension, when it's activated, when the energy passes through it. So the heart chakra is green, is related to the element of Vayu, of the wind, and it's 2 triangles, one going upward. They are interconnected, you could say interlocked, intertwined. One's going upward, one is going downward. And that's why Devi Ma says it's like the bridge, not like, it is the bridge between earth and infinity, because when the energy rises into the Anahata, it's the beginning of experiencing this dimension, physical dimension of reality, well, differently, very differently, with a completely different perception and different energy. And some people who are going through a spiritual awakening, the first thing happen is the energy move into the Anahata, and this is when a lot of things start happening, and people really can get stuck. And that's why when I say it's a bridge, is if one does not do sadhana, then this is my experience from my entourage and my own life experience, the energy can easily go back in the lower chakra, because as the energy move up, you will experience the physical realm very differently. You know, like in the Manipuraka, in the lower chakra, the Swadhisthana, it's more related to survival, pleasure. There is no awakening yet. The true spiritual awakening happen in the Anahata. And most people, they vacillate in the bridge, meaning their energy can easily go back down, or if they really are steady and on a fast forward, on a spiritual path, they can accelerate that energy to pierce through it and to move higher in the Vishuddhi, for example, in the throat chakra. And then eventually in the ajna and the third eye. Each time the energy moves, one experiences this realm of reality very, very differently. I can tell you that from my own experience. And then eventually the full harmonic marriage is what we call in the yogic tradition of Shiva Shakti. And there's nothing religious about it or dogmatic or doctrine. It's just 2 principles. You could look at it as yin and yang. You know, Shakti, the divine feminine energy, the primordial energy that animates everything in the cosmos. She's the one who comes and manifests the beauty, the love, the compassion, all of this manifests everything. And Shiva, you can look at it as that which that is not, that is pure consciousness, stillness. So when those 2 are in perfect, in harmony, they manifest this cosmos. So within ourselves, we experience the same thing too, because we are the microscopic of the macroscopic. So what's happening in the cosmos, in the universe, the same is happening within our own being, through the energy. And I myself, I've gone through this very intensively, furiously. I have a lot of experience on this subject. And what's fascinating about the heart chakra is, first of all, Anahata means unstruck. Unstruck, that there is a sound there. This is the job of divine love, of Mahakaruna, like compassion, like unconditional compassion. When I speak of divine love, is, you could say, is the same as Satchit Ananda. Because when you experience your Satchit Ananda, which is our true divine nature, Sat for absolute truth, Chit for omnipotent, omnipresent, unchanging, and Ananda is pure bliss from our own divine nature, not from an external object, because it's within us. So divine love is the same, because when you experience such and now you're experiencing divine love. Divine love, you could say, is a state of blissfulness where it's not an intellectual thing. You're experiencing this world as yourself. You're embracing everyone, and you're madly in love with everything, and you don't know why. You know, everything is like you're intoxicated from your own nature. And most people don't know that. This is our true state. What the problem becomes is all the accumulation, the conditioning that people accumulate from the day they're born. They come with a karmic structure. And then more has been like a lot of brainwash, conditioning, accumulation, and then samskara, what we call impressions, start imprinting on the subtle body and the physical body. If you remember from previous Divine Satsang, or if you have done the program, samskara become tendency, they become vasana. And suddenly this is like what Devi Ma call like string, puppet string. You don't know why certain people, certain event push your button and you don't know why. But that is part of your karmic structure that most people are not even aware it's there. So going back to the Anahata, is the vacillation for most people. Either you're conscious or unconscious, because truly the Anahata is exactly that, from compulsion to consciousness. You could say from earth to infinity. You could say from physicality to the metaphysical and the mystical. Because a lot of things can happen on the mystical level when the energy is in the Anahata. Most people, when they have their energy in lower chakra, they don't experience this opening of, all of a sudden, it's like you are freezing. You wonder why things touch you so deeply. You become more sensitive, more vulnerable. You see things differently. You start losing your friends. Suddenly people around you, your entourage is changing. And you wonder why. You don't like the same thing you used to. Have you noticed that? And what happened when the opening of the Anahata start taking place, there is an expansion. You're breaking boundaries, you're facing a lot of limitation and boundaries, and you start asking those big questions. Why am I here? What's the purpose of my life? You know, what is the meaning of all of this? And you see things differently with a different perspective. You start questioning everything about your life. And this is probably one of the biggest things is you don't know who you are. What a beautiful thing. to start wondering, who am I? You're certainly not your accumulation and your conditioning and your brainwash, and especially not all those false sense of self, thinking that you are a gender, that you are a teacher, or you're a psychologist, whatever you do, or thinking that you are a Muslim or an Hindu, all those socioeconomic background, religious background, ethnic background, even gender, sex orientation, either you think you're gay, or all of this start falling off. And some people, sometimes they go into identity crisis, which is a very beautiful thing. I went through that when I was in my very early 30s, so that's a very long time. And it can be very scary, but it's a very beautiful thing when you go through it. So the Anahata, like I've explained, is like a bridge, an axis. So when Devi Ma talk about going to the beyond, is that it's a gateway to really going into your true divine nature. Again, what we call Satchidananda, or even more, going into state of samadhi. Even deeper, eventually, is that the goal on the spiritual path is mukti, is liberation, to be free from the physicality, because we're not the body, we're not the mind. The unstruck sound of the Anahata is always there. And the ultimate vibration, reverberation, because everything in the universe has a sound, has a reverberation. A reverberation has the sound, and behind the sound there is a form. The ultimate reverberation of the Anahata, of the unstruck sound, the ultimate one is A-U-M, is the primordial sound of the universe. It's been said that as I've said, the adab of the Anahata is also where the blue pearl is. We have taught that in past Satsang, the blue pearl, which is the light of divine consciousness of our Creator. We all have it within ourselves, and eventually you can see it and you can move it. It travels at the light speed. It's also the adab of what we call in the yogic tradition, you could say it's not a real person, but it's a form of Shiva, or our Creator. You could say it's a form, it's like of Isha. Isha is a form of Shiva. Isha means of God. And it's this adab, the dispeller of fears, the one who grants a boon. And you feel it. When your heart starts opening, it starts expanding, you will feel a presence right there inside. And you become fulfilled because there's nothing greater than fulfilling that expansion of everything. So when it's truly our enlightenment takes place, that whole purification, and when the energy really moves, but eventually for the sadhika, one who's on the spiritual path, who's walking, sadhika means someone who does sadhana, who does a lot of spiritual practices, to accelerate this process. Not everyone who has this deep longing. It depends on the person, but sometimes people have no choice, because when the Anahata opened up, this is when they start really seeking, because they have this longing, this aching in their heart, and they don't know what's going on. And this is where people start embarking on the spiritual path, and they want to accelerate because so much purification takes place and they cannot handle it, and they need help, they need guidance, and so much has been awakened at that level that it can be very traumatizing for some people. Another aspect, when it comes to the mystical aspect, let's say the person has gone through the Kundalini, which is, for most people, it's a rare occurrence, but it's definitely possible, especially in today's world we live in, because there's so many people who are awakening, and all depending on each individual of how receptive you are, what is your longing, how much you want to know to experience your true nature, experience the Creator. How much do you want to experience the beyond? Because we're not the body, we're not the mind, and this is just one dimension of the reality. And so, at the Anahata, if eventually your energy can go back to the Anahata, let's say you have completely awakened, self-realized, experienced enlightenment, then the energy, you could either live your energy, either in your ajna, or either in your throat chakra, or the Anahata. But very few can live in the Anahata, because when you live there, it takes a lot of viveka, what we call discernment, to have a very sharp mind, and to be very still, and also have a lot of sweetness of emotion, a lot of devotion, loving devotion. Because what happened when you live in the Anahata, where you have gone through the whole Kundalini ascension, but you energy abide there, is when the Anahata opened up and that energy is flowing like crazy, you inviting disembodied beings, they will come to you. Not only disembodied beings, celestial beings, because they're drawn to that energy. And you could experience so many mystical experiences. And for some people, they can freak out because they don't know what's going on. Let's talk about Amrita. I have a story. Let's keep going. Amrita, and we'll do a session question and answer. And for some reason, we have 4 people didn't make it this evening, but Amrita grew up in the land of samsara, the land of extreme duality. She was a beautiful being, and she came in the world, and her name Amrita means nectar of God, pure bliss. And she loved being alive, and she loved everyone. She lived in her Anahata. And as she grew older, she started falling into the illusion of separatedness, and she started accumulating a lot of garbage. And as she grew older, all the dysfunction of the family fell into codependency, living through others, thinking that's who she was, thinking she was a female, thinking that she was a ballerina, and she was this and that. And then madly fell in love when she was in her late 20s. Madly fell in love with this man who she thought she was going to get married. A long story, 5 years after he betrayed her, she fell into deep depression, severe depression. And she lost completely. And she realized what happened to all of that blissfulness she was experiencing. And she was in a world of darkness, in the darkness of the soul. And she did not know how to recover. She attempted to commit suicide. They found her 5 days later. She was blue in a coma. And they brought her back to life. Woke up in the hospital, pulled the tube, the blood was flowing everywhere. And she did not know what was happening. And she wanted to go back home, but lost in touch with who she was. And then grace flew into her life, and she met her guru. And she started traveling and went to India and went into a lot of trances. And her Anahata opened up like crazy. And she started having a lot of experience, trance. And then she experienced the beyond. Attracted so many, through her trance, experienced the transcendental dimension of so many disembodied beings. She saw all kinds of disformed beings and celestial beings, but she was completely unaffected by it. Very calm and abide into her Anahata. And she became completely blissed out. And she continued her life, and she finally found a pure equanimity because she had heard the sound of the Unstruck sound. The Unstruck sound is not the sound of your heart, the pulsing. It's a sound that it's like a humming, and it's there. It's eternal. It never dies. It's just to tune yourself in that vibration, and with practice you can hear it. Today Amrita bears her name. She's drinking the nectar of her true divine presence. So let's take a Q&A question that might be possible. I'm sure I have missed a few things. Any question?
Mm-hmm.
About the opening of the heart chakra?
Would you know when you're ready for that to happen?
Speak a little louder, yeah.
How would you know when you're ready for your heart chakra to open?
Could surprise you.
When would you know? You will experience it. It's not that you know, you will start experiencing different stages. I wrote a blog about that. You can read it more in depth on Devi's Grace. But I can tell you, the beginning is, it's like you start on freezing. Just imagine for a moment, when you were a child, you play in the, well, maybe not you if you grew up in California, but if you freeze, and then when you start on freezing, it starts hurting. And you start feeling different sensation, you start seeing your life differently. You will know you're not the same anymore. Because you used to love things, you used to have friends, but you're not interested in those things anymore. And things that you didn't love, you will start loving again. You could even just look at a grass as a blade of grass, and you could just look at it and be madly in love with that grass, and because you're feeling this blissfulness that doesn't come from the outside. You will feel it in your heart. also, as the heart opened up, more and more expansion of consciousness, as energy start traveling, you'll have most people, they will start having different kind of experiences like I was describing. Either things will touch you in a different way, like you never thought. You will see things differently, like you never looked at before. Let me give you an example. You go to India, or it could be just here in California, and you never looked at a stray animal on the street, an injured animal. It was not even in your consciousness to even see it. You see what I'm saying? So that's when your energy is in the lower. Most people don't see that because what happened, your compulsions start falling off. You start having a lot more consciousness, so meaning you will become more aware, because it's a path of self-discovery and self-awareness. And then as your heart starts opening, let's say you see an animal who is stranded, but this time you're going to see it. You're not going to miss it. Not only that, you will feel this incredible love for this animal, and you will feel so much divine love and so much compassion. That's true compassion. Mahakaruna is true compassion, is when you go and you do what's necessary for the animal. Nothing will stop you. You will say, God, I can't leave this animal here, I have to do something. And I'm going to bring it to the vet, or I'm going to rescue it, or do something. But that's a sign that your heart is opening, your Anahata, because that's the seat of divine love and Mahakaruna. There are many, many, many signs. And as it evolves, because some people can live their whole lifetime in the Anahata. It's only in lifetime later their energy can go into the Vishuddhi. It depends, as I said, depending on each individual. It depends on so many different factors, the receptivity of each individual, the longing, but especially if you do sadhana, because sadhana, spiritual practices, that's what accelerates the spiritual ascension and going through the purification. One other sign also when the Anahata energy is going through it is you will have a lot of garbage coming up, processing so much garbage. Garbage of family, dysfunction. It could be from different lifetime, not just from this lifetime. Again, this journey can be a whole lifetime there in the Anahata. But most people suffer a lot there. And let me explain to you what is the secret is. Most people, as I said, they vacillate. Their energy vacillate, wanting to go upward or falling down. And when the energy starts falling down in lower chakra, then that's when often they're not on the path anymore, or they're not meditating, or they're starting to lose their sensitivity, and it's like they go back into pleasure. Again, it's not a judgment, there's nothing wrong, it's just they're experiencing again the world, this physicality at a lower, different energy. And out of a sudden, something tragic could happen in your life, which sometimes it's a blessing. And then, poof, your heart start reopening again. So it could go through some stages. You could feel the energy vacillating, wanting to go. One of the things physical, I work with someone, one of my beloved follower, oversee, because I have all kind of people who come to Devi Ma. One of the major physical thing could happen also. You could feel a lot of pain in your heart area, like a bolt of energy, and it's Shakti wants to pull and pierce through. And many individuals go through that stage too, especially, I would say most of those people who go through that stage is people who are doing a lot of sadhana, like Kriya Yoga, like this. For instance, here at Devi's Grace, Siddha Satchit Kriyananda, any kind of intense sadhana, the energy wants to move and often it can get stuck. I remember from this one when it happened, that was many decades ago, it's very painful because this ball of energy wants to explode. And even here, when the energy goes into the Vishuddhi, it wants to explode. And sometimes you need guidance, it's like you feel like you're going to have a heart attack. It's a very physical thing. It's intense and it could create a lot of anxiety. But what I have experienced with people in my entourage is they experiencing a lot of either physical pain or a lot of suffering, a lot of mourning, a lot of grieving. Sometimes you can go into depression and not knowing what's going on or having anxiety attack. There's a lot more to it, which I have already discussed, starting to have otherworldly experience, attracting beings, disembodied beings, you could call them ghosts. It's just, they will never harm you, they're stuck, they have never got a chance to move on, they're like frozen. I have had many experience with that, and the celestial beings and deity, and vision of deity. So it can be unnerving for some people because if you are unstable with your mind and you don't have a lot of discernment, it can be very unsteady. Any more questions?
When you say sadhana, do you mean spiritual practice?
Yeah, exactly. Sadhana can be mantra yoga, a lot of chanting. I don't mean like just bhajan, I mean like real mantra yoga, japa. Like for this one, there's always a mantra going on, and there's some very specific mantra, because remember, you can become a linga. The linga is like a radiating form of energy. If some of you know what is a linga or a yantra, where you emanate this divine energy, this high frequency, because everything in the universe is all energy and sound and vibration. So if your energy is in the lower chakra, you're not going to vibrate the same way if your energy is in the ajna. Very different. And you're not going to experience this life like someone who their energy is in their ajna if your energy is in the swadhisthana. Because people who their energy is in the swadhisthana, they seek pleasure. There are people who loves to eat a lot, sex, many are stuck in compulsion. Nothing against, not a judgment, it's just, it's a different experience of life, it's a different, very different. Or it could be just pleasure in community, which is beautiful, but they won't seek the ultimate. The question is, ask yourself right now, are you seeking the ultimate in your life? Do you want to know who you are? That's the question. But more importantly, do you want to experience who you are? It takes work, it takes self-effort. Everything can serve the spiritual process in your life. If you really commit it, do you walk the spiritual path? Do you do sadhana? Sadhana is not just Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is not for everyone. And yet it is. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. It is for someone who really wants to accelerate. They don't want to linger for so many lifetimes and reincarnate. They're done. They don't want to suffer anymore. So that, if you have a deep longing, Kriya Yoga is great because it activates your energy. You're willing to put the time and the effort to purify, to work with the life force energy, with Mahashakti, with the primordial energy, and then combine with mantra yoga to resonate a high vibrancy into your being, and combine with meditation and hatha yoga. So it's often a concoction, and bhakti yoga. And to live and abide in your anahata, it takes a lot of devotion. The question is, do you have devotion? Because to live and experience this life, there's nothing sweeter than to live in devotion. I can tell you that. Especially if you combine it with sadhana and with kriya, there will be a lot of transformation, because the path is purification, healing, a lot of healing, purification, back and forth, and then empowerment and transformation. And a lot of transformation. As you get rid of bugs, you will feel it more and more, that you're experiencing life very, very differently. Any question online?
No.
No? Let's see, what time is it? We're doing great.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
It's kind of unique to me, but so be it. In 1986, I had a really profound heart opening. I was doing sadhana at the time, and like it was so intense for several weeks that I couldn't sleep, and I was like intoxicated with divine bliss mixed in with like heartache, where like every person I saw, my heart was breaking. And it never fully went away, but it kind of went like that. And then it never happened again. So like I've been doing sadhana all these years, and it's kind of like I felt like my glory years are long gone.
No, beloved, it's not. It's first of all, you never did Kriya Yoga. I know that because you and I have talked, so that's a big thing. Kriya Yoga is absolutely necessary to move the energy upward, to make it happen in this lifetime. You could go through other paths. I'm not saying this is the best path. I mean, because it has to be a concoction of many things. But if Kriya Yoga is not there, Kriya means an internal action. And normally the action is with the life force energy. You learn how to control the life force energy, because Swami Vivekananda, who actually was the first yogi who brought yoga in this continent in 1893, he was the first one to talk about Kundalini and Shakti. And he said, and I quote him in my book, in Becoming the Light, Realize Your True Enlightened Nature, he said, anyone who learns how to control the life force energy called Shakti can sway the world, because that is the true power of us, we human beings. And you can develop seedy spiritual gifts through that. But I'm going to answer your question, because your question is personal and yet is very universal. Because you're not the only one. It has happened to many people. And one of the reasons is because, let's say, if you use the path of just mindfulness, because mindfulness is very important. I bring this into my teaching, extremely important. All of this, the right concoction for each individual is important. And naturally, this is an unfoldment for each person, because if you have a tendency to be devotional, it will naturally happen. The bhakti will naturally happen. There's a lot of magic in the bhakti. And then if you do the kriya, the right kriya, and then there is mantra, all of this, and the mindful practices, is quite a concoction to really move your energy. And you have to trust and have faith it will unfold. But let's say if you're on the path of just mindfulness, Zen Buddhism, for example. I'm just giving you an example. Or just mindfulness, because I don't want to point out anything, because I know all those stuff. I've been very blessed with being with some phenomenal enlightened master. I was with Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know if some of you know. Mindfulness is amazing, but for most people it's not enough. It could take many lifetimes, because the energy doesn't move. It's hard for people, or the path of inquiry. That's another path that is similar to mindfulness, the path of inquiry. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that, and to sit here and to start feeling who am I, it's great, but it's going to take a long time for the energy to move, and it's hard for people just to sit here. You can get a glimpse of it, but for most people, because they have so much karma, they carry such a load. Remember, when you come into the physical form, you come with a karmic structure already there, what we call prarabdha karma. It's karma that is ready for fruition. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to manifest. It's too late. But if you do sadhana, you can go through it very quickly. I'll give you an example. Depression. Major depression, anxiety attack. Let's use something that is very universal, very common. Codependency. That's a great one. I mean, it's like the greatest malady of our time is codependency, relationship, toxic relationship, narcissistic relationship, all of that. This is all karma. Was all suppressed into the subtle body. If you would have dealt with the toxicity, let's say you grew up in a dysfunctional family, you were abused by one of your parents or grandparents, and as a child, you did not know how to cope with it, so you had to repress it. You had no choice, and it's inevitable. Eventually, as you grow older, it's going to come out. And that's tremendous, because that karma, if you would have processed it way back then, let's say your father was very abusive, beat you up, verbally abusive, and you went through hell, but you were able to process it and be very conscious of it, then later on in life you would not suffer from a depression. It would not have been repressed in the form of sanskar. You see what I'm saying, beloved? You would not have anxiety attack. You would not most likely suffer from codependency, because you would have unlearned, because codependency is a learned pattern behavior. You would have been, maybe not as a child, it's hard for a child, because a child, unless you're very evolved, but there are some children who are very aware and they're capable of processing things. And so that's example of karma. And prabha karma is there. But we won't go into that. That's another satsang on its own. Did I answer your question?
What is your question?
But the Kriya Yoga will help move the energy much faster. Every path, through honest path, is fantastic. It's all depending on how much in a hurry you are. That's all. Are you in a hurry? Or if you want to linger longer in suffering and accumulating, because most people, with great mindfulness, that's why I embrace mindfulness so much and into my teaching, is that you can really stop accumulating karma. Because the whole secret about stopping accumulating karma is to become conscious. When you become conscious and you really abide into this moment that you hear, you can really stop. You're preventing from accumulating karma. You're dealing with what you have to deal in the here and now. Do you see what I'm saying? If you don't deal in the here and now with what you have to deal, well, then it's repressed into the samskar. It will come up later. It's guaranteed it's going to come up. If not in this lifetime, in another lifetime. What Kriya Yoga does is because of the life force energy, the primordial energy, to learn to control that. It's a mystery. Yeah, a great mystery. So we should start the meditation. Anyone, any question before we start another question? I know it might be a lot for some of you. So to answer more, because Joy, I feel like I didn't answer properly. What you experience happen to people who don't do Kriya Yoga. Their energy, you probably just did meditation.
Well, I didn't do Kriya Yoga, but I did a lot of things.
Like what?
Well, heart-centered meditation, attune into heart energy, seeing people, seeing their heart, studying with heart, reading heart-centered books like, Swami Ramdas. Not Ramdas the American, but he's real heart-centered guy, brings me into my heart. Course in Miracles, all different things. So I haven't done Kriya Yoga, but I've done a lot.
But those are not tools. They're not method per se. They are more, how can I say that? Spiritual knowledge and wisdom to make you more aware, which is great. The more awareness and mindfulness, but when you start doing something physically and working with the life source energy, and one aspect we didn't discuss, but this is a whole, it's in Radiating the Light program, to balance the feminine and masculine energy. Most people are very out of balance. Either they have too much divine feminine energy, or more today in the world. And again, those energy has nothing to do with gender. It's not about being a female or a male. A male can have a lot of divine feminine energy, but ultimately that's what Devi Mayi Ma was talking about, the whole harmonic marriage into the Swasara is the full marriage of the divine feminine and masculine, the merging of the two together. And most people are out of balance. And today, unfortunately, because of patriarchal society, has been dominated for so many hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, That is inevitable. The energy on the planet and most people, consciously or unconsciously, have a lot of divine masculine energy within themselves. But what you described, Joe, it happened to a lot of people. Their heart opened up. They had an experience, but the energy goes back down in the lower chakra. Or it stay kind of there, but it's not continuing to expand.
Right.
As I said, it can vacillate. That's why I was saying the Anahata, the heart center, is the bridge between the earth and infinity. So the bridge is that you can get stuck on the bridge and not go anywhere. Or you could go on the other side, you go downward, or you could go upward. But going upward takes massive amount of energy. And that's why the Kriya Yoga is a great tool. But Kriya Yoga is great for people who are really want to accelerate, who really want. You see what I'm saying? So.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it happened. You're not the only one. It's a universal. It happened. Yeah, because when you awake spiritually, it's always the Anahata. It always starts there. And most people get stuck there. Or what happened, they start suffering so much. Why am I crying so much? Why am I sobbing so much? Why is this stuff is coming up? And as you get overwhelmed, and people run away. I've seen that a lot. Let's say they started doing spiritual practices, they were on the path, they were starting to seek, but it gets very, very, very turbulent. And if they don't have the support, the guidance, and the right tools, they quit. And they run away. I have seen that. And beloved, it's exactly where you don't want to run away, because what's happening there is that means you're facing one of your biggest boundaries, your biggest limitation. And that's exactly, you just got to pierce through it. Because that's how you evolve. If you don't face your boundaries and your limitation, and that's one of the things that you were asking earlier, Kira, that you will face some of your limitation and you will have resistance. Oh God, I'm scared. I don't know how to do this. And it's like you want to run away. You're not courageous, or you're just like, especially at the level, I don't want to get too technical with yogic terminology here, but remember we talk about the different Maya kosha. There are different envelopes. In the yogic tradition, we have the physical body, the mind body, the mano-maya kosha, and the prana-maya kosha, the energy body, and then you have the bliss body. And then you can pierce them, and the Janaya Maya Kosha, which is like the cosmic mind. So what you're basically doing as the energy is moving, you're piercing through that. People who face big boundaries, they get stuck into the mind body, the Mana Maya Kosha, or the pranic body. They get stuck there. What you're describing, Joe, is that you got stuck there. You got stuck at the energy level. Energy can easily go back down. It has happened.
I just want to comment that I think a lot of people in this culture, especially, get stuck with trauma. So even if you're elevated, even if you're opened in your heart, if you have trauma and you don't know how to release it, which most people don't, then it's hard to evolve.
Well, what you describe is at the level of the mana kosha and the pranic, also pranamaya kosha, the energy body. There's a lot of trauma. Trauma is just karmic structure. All accumulation conditioning. If you have lived, let's say, you have had a lot of trauma in your family, your mother killed your father, those things do happen. I mean, I hear all kind of things. This is very traumatic. Or you have been completely abused or sexually abused. You have been raped, you know, or you have been assaulted, or this is very traumatic. You live with a mother who was, let's say, alcoholic. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not pointing out anything, but this is common. This is so common that you see that it's rampant. All of this is trauma. Trauma. How do you cope with trauma, even as an adolescent? You have to repress it. Most adolescents or children cannot deal with it. Or you have gone in a war, you went fighting and you saw a dead body, or you rescue, or you lost your leg. I mean, post-traumatic syndrome. All of this, people suffer from a lot of trauma. Just the pandemic was very traumatic on a lot of people, to feel suffocated, isolation and fear, brainwash from the media. One thing you need to become mindful also to avoid any unconscious trauma and in the energy field is, and Gautama the Buddha said that, be aware of what you're ingesting on a daily basis, you know. The relationship you have, are they toxic? The social media, what are you reading? What are you talking about? Use your magical wand. Remember your magical wand, using the right thoughts. Be aware of your thoughts, the right words, the right action, creates the right emotion. And the right emotion will create your energy. Your energy field will change. And as your energy field change, then all of a sudden you start vibrating differently. But trauma is just karmic structure that needs to be purified.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all. And especially people who have suffered a lot of trauma, they are the one who needs it the most. Yeah, and there are many methods, many tools, and it's depending on the individual, how fast they want to move through that. So let's start. What we're going to do, we will do two things. We will chant Om for 5 minutes. And I want you to feel the vibration of the Om. And we'll do that we could do it longer, but I'm keeping an eye on the time. Maybe 5 to 8 minutes. And I will explain to some of you, probably, I'm not sure if you all know how to chant Om properly out loud. And then when I stop, just follow your breath up and down consciously. And just listen. Don't try to listen to anything, just listen. And feel the vibration. And then we'll do that for probably 5 minutes. And then after you're going to lay down, and I will lead you into a Nidra Yoga meditation, a powerful meditation on the Anahata. So you sit straight, like gently erect your spine with your hands turned upward, slightly looking upward, your third eye. And Om, as Om is 3 syllable, the primordial vibration of the universe. So it's A, U, M. Those 3 sounds form all languages. Aha, as you chant, vibrate in the lower abdomen, U vibrate in the Anahata, and vibrate in the brain. And so as you chant it equally, A, U, M. I'll do only one, I'll demonstrate for one. Okay? Make sure you feel the vibration for each syllable. Oo, excuse me. And as you chant, it will vibrate equally in each part. Okay? And give yourself to it and look slightly upward. And anyone online, please do the same and make sure your spine, the spine is very important, the Merudanda, that is nice, erect, comfortably, and instant. Turn upward, looking up. So let's do it for 5 minutes. Just follow your breath gently and just listen. Listen to your heart, the unstruck sound, not your heartbeat. To the vibration of the universe. Just be mindful of your breath going up and down. Don't pay attention to your thoughts, just go back to your breath. Listen deep to that unstruck sound. What we call the anandi, the all-invisible sound of the universe. Feel your breath caressing your spine, going up and down. Put your awareness in your spine. And listen deep. put your awareness on your heart. And put your hands on your heart like this. The right one on your heart and the left one on top of your right hand. And breathe through it. Now, those hands is the hands of the Divine Mother, touching your heart. Know that in your Anahata is the adobe of the blue pearl, of the light of divine consciousness. The most mystical experiences of the beyond. Within each of us, the divine is right there. Our true nature, divine presence is right there. Take some beautiful, deep, mindful breath. This is called Nada Yoga. It's a practice in its own, so when you feel pain in your heart and you don't know, whatever, something comes up, whatever, if it's anxiety or sadness or sorrow, or physical pain in the heart region, sit down for 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes and chant the Anahata meditation. You could do it longer, and then sit with the right posture as I had said earlier, cross-legged, spine slightly erect, looking upward, and stand upward. And then you just listen to the sound. Just listen, not even sound, just listen. Even if you don't hear it, it's not a lessening of the physical, it's a lessening of the beyond. It's the Anandi. Anandi is the invisible sound that is eternal. One day you'll hear it. Or maybe you have already once. It's possible, Joe, you have heard it when you had that heart-opening experience. It's a practice. Now let's lay down on the floor. We'll do Nidra Yoga, a brief guided meditation. Make yourself very comfortable. And don't worry after when you come out if you feel like really like, you can use it, if you feel like exhausted or drawn or whatever feelings you feel, it's absolutely normal. And turn your hands upward. You could put some pillow beneath your legs to give you some support if you want, or you want support for your neck. inside, like you in a corpus pause. Completely relax into it. Now you're going to tense everything right now. We're going to tense 3 times and completely let go. So tense. Make a fist, and then tight up all your muscle. Your head, if on YouTube, online, the same. Make yourself very comfortable and just be with us here. There's no time and no space when you are in the absolute truth. So tight. Everything, your legs, like your life depends on it. Your head, everything. And then let go. Just like shh. Completely let go. One more time, second time. And it's okay if you yawn and you feel like completely like, if you fall asleep, it's completely alright if you fall asleep, because your subconscious mind will do the work. You might think you're not here, but you're still here. Your spirit listen and hear everything. So completely let go. One more time. Tight. Everything, your legs, your abdomen, your neck, your face. Like your life dependent. Let go. And one more time. Now you are in this beautiful ocean right at the bottom. This ocean is eternally crystal blue, warm. See yourself, breathing is natural in this ocean, because it's the ocean of divine love. The more you breathe in this ocean, the more you experience your true divine presence. So you take beautiful mindful breath and then see yourself at the very bottom. Experience yourself. You are right now in a green lotus. Right inside of the green lotus. You're not even born yet. And your mother is the green lotus. The divine mother is the green lotus. So use your imagination. Be vivid. Bring yourself there, right there. And you feel this warm, this divine love engulfing you. You feel nurture in the womb of the green lotus. It's a golden green lotus and it's soft, tender. It's pure, unconditional love. It's the love of the Divine Mother. And she's nurturing and breathing new life into you. And little by little, one petal open. See the petal folding. There are 12 petals. And we turn the music a little more. If it's too loud, let us know. So the second petal unfold. See them falling. And as you see them falling, you're starting to stretch your brand new divine body temple. It's a body made out of pure green light. another petal fall off. A fourth one, nicely with the flow of the ocean. It just unravels the beauty of your green, golden body. The fifth one unfold. The sixth one unfold. The seventh one unfold. See them unfolding. 8, 9, 10, and the 11, and the 12th one. Now you're coming out of the green lotus. Look around. You're bathing in the divine ocean of the Divine Mother. It's pure consciousness. It's the Adab of the Anahata. Purusha, what we call is pure consciousness. The Adab of infinite beauty and creativity. And you're coming out of the lotus and you're floating. And there's this gentle swaying of the ocean, caressing your soul and your spirit. And you're just going with the flow. And you look above, and you see this bright divine light that is coming through the ocean. That ocean is infinite. You can't see the beginning or the end. And just swim. Swim gently with the flow, going upward and upward. The light is calling you. Something is calling you. And you keep swimming gently. And the waves are of all different colors. They permeate throughout every particle of that ocean. And they're blue and green and red and golden and violet, orange, white. And now you don't even have to swim anymore. The flow is bringing you up, 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 up. The energy is bringing you up, up, up. Into the light. And you're going up, up, and something is calling you. Something is calling you. And you feel it. Out of a sudden, whole vision of a beloved one. It can be this body being someone deceased, a beloved friend, beloved husband or spouse, wife, parents, grandfather, grandmother, an animal companion, and can be more than one. It can be many of your ancestors. See them. It could be an ex-lover, either still in the physical form or someone who has departed. Hold the vision, and now you see them. They're calling you, beloved. Now, with your energy from your Anahata, see the green light. Expand your heart to them. See your green lotus light merging with their green lotus light. As you light, your petals are embracing their petals, and they're merging and becoming one. Energetically, it can be one and another one. It could be hundreds of them. Now, as you're embracing each one and they becoming part of you, your green lotus light petal start traveling. But take your time. If you have more beloved that you want to embrace now with your green petal, extend your Anahata to them energetically. You don't even have to forgive them or say, I'm sorry if I have hurt you. Just your love, your divine love, melt everything, and you set them free, and you set yourself free. It can be your old parents who are soon to leave this body temple. You could say goodbye to them and get ready for their departure. Allowed your green light petal to travel through the cosmos. See every green particle, the golden green particle of light, traversing to Mother Earth. Go around the planet, embracing all living beings with your green lotus light petal. Crossing through the cosmos and you see nebulas, you spring the whole cosmos with the green golden petal of yours. Kappa is an intention. And Sanskapa is an intention for the highest good, for you and for others. So whatever that comes to you right now in this moment, hold that vision. See it. See it manifesting. This is done. Now bring the second Sanskapa, second intention. Hold that vision, see it accomplished. Third one, hold that vision. Whatever that comes first, just trust your intuition. See them again, reinforce them, one after the other one. Bring back the first one, and the second one, and the third one. See them vividly in action, and then release them into the green light, the green golden light of the green lotus. Spreading that green golden light petal. There you're circling around Mother Earth. And now you're finding yourself ocean of divine cosmic love. You're surrounded by water, but this time you're floating. You're floating on top where the light is. Gently floating, Mother Earth, Divine Mother is caressing every particle of your being, rocking you like a baby.